Well, hello, everybody. This is Louise Eddington with the Progressive Army, and this is the first interview in a series of Where Are They Now interviews that I'm going to be doing with Bernie Sanders delegates who were all at, what did you call it? You had a funny expression for it yesterday when we were chatting, Trent.
The Battle of Philly?
The Battle of Philly. I loved that. I'd never heard it called the Battle of Philly before, and it was. So today I have with me Trent Champ, who was the lone Bernie delegate in his group.
Senate district.
In his Senate district, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
The sole elected delegate.
Sole elected delegate. And he has an interesting story to tell about what's happened since. But Trent is now running for Senate as well, which I'm very impressed by. But he's running it as an independent. So we'll talk about how his experience at the DNC and how he got to running as an independent and in between. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having us. We're very thrilled to be here.
So tell me a little bit about your experience of the DNC or the Battle of Philly.
Well, it was horrible, wasn't it? I mean, I was with the Texas delegation, and we, like all the other elected national delegates, went there thinking that the superdelegates would not be pulled into it until Wednesday, and that we would have vote after vote after vote and an opportunity to try and turn people in between those votes. And in standing on the floor, I personally witnessed an old lady in a walker be shoved on the stairs. I witnessed countless incidents of signs being ripped out of people's hands. I saw somebody get spit at. No, it didn't hit them, but they got spat at. And just having people this far away from your face screaming, get out, get the fuck out, you know? And we had one member of we decided as the Bernie subset of our delegation that we were going to make a unity statement at our state delegation breakfast on Tuesday morning. And we went in unified, and the person that was speaking actually just misspoke, chose the wrong word. The entire room erupted. But that then opened the door, and the whole purpose of the statement was to tell them that we're not giving up. The vote isn't cast yet, and we are going to come and sit with you and talk to you and try and talk some sense into you, because this is just a disastrous candidate. I mean, take the personality off the table. You're doubling down on something that's doomed.
Oh, policies that had been failing for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when this eruption happened, our state chairman became very angry, and they were going to yank this person's credentials. So we dispatched a peace delegation of 3 young ladies to go and talk to the man. And when they did, he told them, if we needed you people, we'd still be in the basement. So then later that day on the floor, in talking with some Clinton delegates, I said, and this happened, I got the exact same thing from 3 different people through the day, where I would say, now look, I want to win as bad as the next person. But if the situation were reversed, and I was looking at your campaign as having suffered impropriety at the hands of collusion between my campaign and the DNC, I would stand with you and scream foul, because the vote is sacred. What happened in the primaries is wrong, and it needs to be addressed. And what I was told, literally word for word verbatim 3 times, was everybody cheats. Bush cheated. It went to the Supreme Court. They cheated. Everybody cheats. Nixon cheated. Everybody cheats. This time, if the cheating works to our benefit, we're not only okay with it, we're all about it. we don't need you people. We don't want you people. Get out, get the flip out. So,
it didn't work to their advantage, did it?
no, it really didn't.
No.
But then when I got home, there were three elected delegates from my Senate district. There was a male and a female for Clinton, and one by coin toss male for Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
So the three of us came back. I told my story of what I witnessed. They told their stories of what they witnessed, and according to them, they had a wonderful time, and they had selfies with all of the debutantes of the Democratic Party, and they attended fabulous parties and ate wonderful food, and it was a lifetime dream come true. And I was saying what I lived through and what I witnessed on television were two entirely different things.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And what my Senate district committeeman, which is a state level position, and my county chair, what they went around and told people that I must be mentally ill because they don't think I'm a liar. And my story was so unbelievable compared to the other two people that they've known for years, because I only came into the Democratic Party as an active member on behalf of the Bernie campaign when our state director asked us as a community to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a newcomer, and these other two people were old establishment Democrats, and they gaslighted me by telling everybody that I was mentally ill. So then when I came back from Philadelphia, I fully intended to uphold my oath that I signed when I submitted my application to run as a national delegate. I had an opinion that I was going to stay in the Democratic Party and I was going to work with these people, and I didn't want to give them any advantage of being able to think while they're looking at me, well, that guy he's a liar, mm-hmm. because he signed the oath and then he voted for Jill Stein, and I didn't want to give them that tool.
Mm-hmm.
I also had an attitude of, look, I'm a grown adult. Nobody pulled the wool over my eyes. I made a bet. Mm-hmm. And to me at the time, it was a sure bet.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up I lost the bet, and I don't welch on my bets. The power of this movement is the integrity of the people
mm-hmm.
that are involved in it, and you have to be a person of your word.
Yeah.
When I put that out in the social media community, I got about a 50-50 reaction. The Dem Enter people were all proud of me. The Dem Exit people were very unhappy. The Dem Exit people lobbied me saying, you know what, when you signed that oath, the fix was already in and they were laughing at you because we never had a chance. It was rigged. And so legally, that contract was not entered into in good faith on their behalf,
mm-hmm.
because they knew at the time they put it in front of you that they were playing you for a chump. And it made sense to me, and I'm a Quaker and a lifelong pacifist, and I had a real moral dilemma with voting for someone that perpetuates war profiteering.
Mm-hmm.
I just was not going to be able to live with myself and sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
So these people released me from that, and I went public on social media and endorsed Jill Stein. When that happened, my county chair had my precinct chair call me and tell me, your your public endorsements of Jill Stein have been noticed, have been recorded via screenshot. You are done in the Texas Democratic Party.
Wow.
You can come to the convention. You can continue to be a supporting member. But if you ever decide to run for any position within the party or for public office, which has to be approved by the party, your application will be contested with these screenshots and summarily denied.
Wow.
So I was essentially thrown out, and maybe that's a bit dramatic of a term.
Mm.
But I really wasn't thrown out, because when I got home from Philadelphia, I was so disgusted by the countenance and the behavior of the party core, I guess you'd call them, that I could no longer feel good about even telling people that I'm a Democrat. I mentioned that I lived in Indiana, and if there's a redder state in the Union than Texas, it's Indiana. That's where Mike Pence comes from.
Yeah.
And
Utah's pretty up there.
Really?
I'm in Utah. Yeah.
Well, it's just breaking out. We're breaking out in red all over. It's like a rash.
Yeah.
But all through my adult life, I had work environment experiences where people just assumed that everybody in the room was a Tea Party person, and they would make the most heinous statements out loud about things. And I never shied away from standing up and challenging them and calling them on it. And, I was always proud to call myself a Democrat in opposition to all of that. When I got home from Philadelphia, I no longer felt that way.
Yeah.
I was kind of ashamed to tell people I was a Democrat, to be honest.
I completely understand.
They technically, I guess they can claim that they threw me out, but the fact of the matter is I publicly endorsed Jill and publicly basically announced that I was walking away. Those are the things that they screenshot to use to throw me out. So I quit before they threw me out.
Well, I feel quite lucky in that case with our state party because I chose to vote for Jill Stein as well, and I didn't get any of that. They were actually quite supportive of us, but we did win by 80% to 20% of caucus goers for Bernie in Utah. So I think we had a strength in numbers and some support. And talking of selfies, you said they got all their selfies. I got a selfie with Jimmy Dore.
I got a selfie with, Howard Feynman.
Oh, right, yeah. I was in the media tent when we all walked out.
I didn't get there in time. I was too busy crying. I was locked outside.
Oh, I got in, and that's when I met Jimmy. But so that was my best bit of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Jimmy Dore. Yeah, but yeah, it was just awful.
It was.
Yeah.
Did you suffer PTSD at all?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. And we've been laughed at for using that term. Your life wasn't threatened. I said it doesn't have to be threatened for PTSD.
No, I know. I felt that contributed to it was the acceptance that there are people that have been through war and have been raped, and they really have PTSD. I didn't go through anything remotely close to that, and yet I'm having episodes of uncontrollable crying. Yeah. I wake up with a terrible sense of dread that I'm going to have to go back into that again for a moment, and then I realize, oh no, it's over. I don't have to do that. And
I took antidepressants for a while.
Yeah, I had horrible resentment issues. And
it's not normal for me either. So
yeah, as a Quaker and a recovering alcoholic, resentment is death.
Yeah.
And I had to get to a place where I could just let go of it all. Yeah. Like you said, we'll talk a little and then we move on. And that's the way it has to be.
I chose not to leave the party yet, but I chose to try. But I've just this week decided that after our state convention, I'm leaving because I'm staying for that because I'm voting for a friend.
Well, they treated me in accordance with their playbook.
Yeah.
They tried to give me money for my trip to Philadelphia after I no longer needed it, but I wouldn't have accepted it to begin with because I wanted to go on individual contributions and not organizational. I didn't want to have to owe anybody anything.
Oh, they didn't offer us any.
They also tried to bribe me in terms of engineering me into a precinct chair position if I wanted it. And I said, well, coming out of Philadelphia, my understanding is that the precinct chairs are going to be beating the people in their precinct to get on van and call on behalf of Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, that's correct. And I said, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I don't want to accept the job and then, not perform for you. So,
yeah.
But when they couldn't buy me and they couldn't bribe me, I guess, and I wasn't broken by Philadelphia, I was still loud. They decided, well, he's got to go. It's not going to work out.
Wow.
And it's different in every state.
It is. It's very different.
The landscape and the attitude here in Texas, if you look at big oil and gas money that was given to candidates in 2016, Ted Cruz is number one in the entire world. Number two was Hillary Clinton. Texas is a huge ATM cash machine for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
The Texas Democratic Party, in lockstep with the National Party, will never come out against fracking.
No.
We really, with our campaign, that's the whole purpose of our campaign, is that the people of Texas are not going to have a choice against fracking, against Citizens United, and for universal health care without placing an independent candidate on the ballot.
I think it's the same in Utah, to be honest. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I won't. Yeah. I'll tell my story another time. This is for your interview. So tell us how you went from that point to deciding to run as an independent.
Wow. All along the way, when I was running, when I was campaigning to become a national delegate, and then in between my election to be a national delegate and the convention, our community, there were a lot of people that were calling for me to run for Congress. At that point in time, I was like you, Louise. I didn't want anything to do with running for office. I just really didn't. It held no attraction for me. I'm an activist, and I'm much, much more comfortable in sandals and a t-shirt and a picket sign in my hand than I am facing an angry crowd of Tea Party Texans, or
trying to compromise with people.
Yeah, I know. But I just held absolutely no interest for me at all. We believe very firmly. We believe in our Texas community. Our Texas community did amazing things. We performed miracles during the campaign. We were one of the strongest state groups in the country. I would put us personally at about third behind or fourth behind California, Washington, and Oregon, are really up there. But we did some pretty impressive stuff as a group. We don't want to let that group dissipate. When you look at the political landscape here in Texas, there are Bernie national delegates that are running for United States Congress. They're running through the Democratic Party. We wish them all the luck in the world. We personally have no faith that the Democratic Party here in Texas is going to allow them to get through the process. We feel like they already have, even though they're loyal, they still have that Bernie delegate target on their backs. This remains to be seen, whether it's true or false. We love them. We wish them all the luck in the world, and we're staying completely out of it because we do not want to damage them through negative blowback, guilt by association with us. So we're just, at this point in time, the two groups are just really kind of ignoring each other from a silence of mutual respect and not damaging each other, I think. But when you look at that, running within the Democratic Party supports a run for United States Congress. It doesn't support a run for the Democratic Party supports that. You can't really do that as an independent in Texas. Here's the reason why. the voter suppression and election access ballot laws in Texas are some of the most progressively prohibitive in the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
They have virtually entrenched the two-party system through their ballot access laws.
Mm-hmm.
In Texas, only the Republicans and only the Democrats can hold a primary. If you're green or libertarian, you determine your parties through your party convention. You don't have a primary. If you're Republican or Democrat, you can file with your party to run for any position.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they approve your application, you are running for that office. You can raise and spend money immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The laws give the two-party system a 6 to 9 month head start on independents and third-party candidates, in that we can't declare until November 11th, and we can't collect or spend money legally until that time.
Wow.
So if you're looking at getting a person placed on the ballot in Texas, it's the same number of signatures that you have to collect, regardless of whether it's governor, United States senator, United States representative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The number is 1% of the total number of voters that participated in the last election where governor was on the ballot. So we're looking at the total number of voters in the general election in Texas in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
1% of that number comes out to 47,000 and some change signatures.
Wow.
Those signatures have to be from people who will not be participating in the 2016 primary, and they have to be collected in a 30-day period of time.
Oh.
May 29th, I know, right? And June 29th. But here's the thing. Our Bernie community has had an evolution, Louise, where we feel like this lift is the next logical
Mm-hmm.
step for us as a community.
Yeah.
When we went to the state convention, we knew that things were headed in a downward motion for chances of our winning the presidential nomination. Looking at the calendar, the California primary was going to be on Tuesday, and our state convention started that Friday, the following Friday. So we knew that we were looking at potentially very enthusiastic Clinton delegates operating from a standpoint of having won, in their opinion. We wanted to keep our movement moving, and it's always been a long game strategy for us. So we wanted to give our people something coming out of the convention that would give them a victory and empower them. There were 5 people, and I wasn't one of them, but let me think. Two of them, Danielle, Jessica Pellet, and Justin Snyder, are both running in the Dallas area for United States congressman through the Democratic Party. They were 2 of 5 people in our community that put together 5 resolutions to be placed on the Texas Democratic Party platform.
Mm-hmm.
We researched the rules, they did, and discovered that we needed 3,000 signatures to bring a resolution to the floor of the convention. We had 5 resolutions. They picked the 5 that they felt was the absolute lowest hanging fruit, that every single person that calls themselves a liberal would have zero compunction about signing.
Mm-hmm.
So on Friday afternoon, from Friday, I think Friday morning at 10 o'clock, they released us to collect signatures, and 4 p.m. was the turn-in deadline, so 6 hours. We had 5 resolutions. We needed 3,000 signatures per resolution, times 5 resolutions. It's 15,000 signatures in a 6-hour period of time that we did. We got all 5 of them on the floor. And then the horrendous physical conditions of the Alamo Dome caused a lot of Clinton delegates, and the work in the committees was delayed. The platform committee was delayed with getting their results out by like 2.5 hours. So there was a lot of waiting and just killing time with filling in with fluff. And a lot of the Clinton delegates became very perturbed and left. So by the time the platform committee got out of their committee and we brought our resolutions to the floor, we stayed, we toughed it out.
Yeah.
And we stayed and we outvoted them. And Louise, we got all 5 of those resolutions placed on the Texas state platform, and we can do this.
Yeah.
There were 100,000 people turn out across Texas for the Women's March. So 50,000 people. And we also feel that there are places like Marfa, Texas, where the XL Keystone Pipeline comes to a terminus near there. It's an artistic community. If we get to a place where we can spend money and we take out some local television and radio ads and newspaper ads and plaster businesses in Marfa, Texas, that we can get some church parking lots and we can walk in there and raise clipboards over our heads and say, who wants a candidate on the ballot that's anti-fracking? And we'll get 34,000 signatures in a single day.
Yeah, probably.
Everyone that has committed to working on this campaign believes that power with all their heart. The other part of it is that people in Texas, it's a changing demographic.
It is. Yeah.
It is. And, the atomic bomb of economic disaster went off in the Midwest. At the time Rick Perry was governor of Texas, he put out national television ads that said, there's no state taxes here, come here. People have migrated to Texas from all over this country, and they're not all conservatives.
No.
There's a misperception of Texas that Texas is a very backward conservative state. It is not. It is a very low voter turnout through hopelessness state. It's a populist state with very low voter turnout. The percentage of 43% of people being independent nationally is exactly mirrored here in Texas. Where we live, there's Scott and White Hospital is here in Temple. It's a mecca for geriatric care. There are a lot of retired people that live here in my county. In my county is also Fort Hood, which is the largest military installation in North America. There are a lot of people that muster out of the military at Fort Hood and settle in this area. When we went out into the community and we had a booth at festivals for Bernie as part of our grassroots efforts, person after person after person with no end to it came up to us and said, I can't believe that Texas is supporting, that there are people that support something this liberal. We thought we were completely surrounded, and we've been afraid to even poke our heads up. You give us hope. And we're like, no, we're not at all surrounded. We have them surrounded.
Yeah.
We have them surrounded, but nobody knows.
I know. I found that out in my 6 months there. We lived
Yeah.
a very conservative town, but the rest of it was very liberal. Houston's liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was not intending to run for office, but I was driving to Austin. I'm an independent contracting architect. And I was driving to Austin about a month and a half ago, and I just had a moment of clarity, Louise, where it's like everything that's happened in my life has come into focus, and it's all been leading to this. I'm not an ambitious man beyond helping people. I am just driven in that respect. But we're not going to run for re-election. No. And part of the reason for that is so that when we do get there, we don't have to go along to get along with people. We're not seeking to do it a second time.
Career in the Senate, yes. Yeah.
We're not looking for a cushy lobbyist gig coming out of there when we're done. We basically don't care. Yeah. We're there to fix problems. And we're also there to claim and hold territory until the next wave. And you know how this is going to work. It's each wave gets bigger.
Yeah.
If you drop a pebble in a pond and you think of that first ripple That's Bernie's presidential campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And the next ripple out from it are these midterms that are coming out.
Yeah.
And the next ripple out from that will be the 2020 election.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it's going to work.
It is. Yeah.
The true believers are here for the long haul. And we're doing this because I touched upon it. A run for United States congressman is not an all-state lift. And as an independent in Texas, you would have to gather 50,000 signatures, not from the state, but from your own congressional district, which makes it really impossible.
Remind me of those dates again when you've got to collect the signatures.
Well, part of the problem is, Louise, is that we can't get a straight answer twice. And we're going to actually have to get some legal counsel to finally help us tie it down completely.
Yeah.
But it's the worst voter suppression in the country. You call the Secretary of State's office.
Uh-huh.
You look it up online. You have it on screen. You call the Secretary of State's office. You ask them a question about what you're looking at. They give you an answer.
Mm-hmm.
You record the answer, and they'll tell you that what you're looking at online is not correct.
Oh.
The correct answer is this, and they tell you, and you write it down. You call back 2 hours later, get a different staff attorney with the Secretary of State's Elections Division, and the second attorney will tell you that the website information is correct and the first attorney was wrong.
Oh, my.
And the information is spread out.
Yeah.
In different places, and they pass the ball and say, well, that's not, United States Senator is a federal position, so we're not going to answer that question. You have to have that question answered by the Federal Elections Commission. You call the Federal Elections Commission, and they say, well, of course it's a question for Texas. Only people in Texas can vote for that position. It's not president. It's a position that represents Texans, and the Secretary of State is wrong in saying in throwing off responsibility for answering that. It's not our responsibility; it is their responsibility. And you call back the Secretary of State, and they say, "Well, that's wrong."
Yeah.
So we're going to have to get some legal counsel, in the end.
But you thought it was about June, maybe?
I'm sorry?
You thought it was about June time that you can collect the signatures? I'd love our readers and listeners in Texas to kind of know when to be around, or in your congressional district.
Well, by the time we get there, we'll have it nailed.
Yeah.
We'll know exactly what it is, and we'll have it in writing from someone who signs it.
And you'll put it on your website.
Yeah, and we're serious enough about this. We might have a petition drive just to get the actual Secretary of State to sign a document for us, But we'll know what the actual hard numbers are. Right now, we've got a range. We've been told, best case scenario, we can declare from November 11th until 30 days before the 2016 primary, which would be approximately February 3rd, I think.
2018. Yeah.
That's for declaring.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario on declaring is November 11th to December 11th. Best case scenario on collecting signatures is if there's not a runoff for the office of United States Senator in either one of the two party primaries, you can start collecting signatures the day after the primary. And then you can collect them up until 180 calendar days prior to the general election, which would be Monday, August 20th, 5 p.m. Your signatures have to be turned in. Worst case scenario is no, that's not right. You have to wait until the day after the runoff election, which is May 28th, whether there is a runoff election or not.
No. Oh.
You have to wait until the day after a runoff election that might not even exist, and then you have 30 calendar days, which would put you at June 29th, and they have to be received by 5 p.m. June 29th. That's the worst case scenario.
Well, I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but you have to laugh because it is laughable that they can't.
It is.
It's
It
like,
is. I mean, it doesn't really bother us. What makes, and you know what makes us all laugh about it? People like you and I,
yeah,
is this is what we do.
yeah,
They put barriers in front of us, and we get around it.
yeah, we
You
do.
know, it's like we don't care how hard you make it, as long as it's possible, it will
We'll
be
do it.
done.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to stop us, you have to make it impossible.
Yeah.
And right now, we
And
make
trying.
we, we make the analogy all the time. We're real big on Rebel Alliance and Star Wars here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, you know, making a run at the Death Star because it's intimidating. It seems hopeless, but there is a flaw in the system,
Yeah.
you know, that will allow us to make a Hail Mary pass. And we feel very strongly that, number one, we've got a great candidate name in Champ.
Yeah. Oh, for
I'm
sure.
actually a direct descendant of a Revolutionary War hero.
Uh-huh.
That's all provable. That's when I said everything has come
In
in
alignment.
focus. You know, we've got a story. We've got the great American story of falling from grace in terms of, you know, I suffered chronic alcoholism for a while, and fighting your way back from hopeless oblivion, you know, and Americans love those kind of comeback stories.
Yeah.
They love winners, and my last name is Champ. It's something I used to run from. And, you know, I just kind of had an epiphany one day of, dude, that name is a gift.
It is a gift.
It's a gift, and you should be using it.
Yeah.
You know, so all these things came into focus, and we just kind of had a calling. We want the movement represented. We want people of Texas to have a choice. We would rather it not be us, and that we be able to work in the background as a brilliant, you know, campaign director. But nobody is standing up. We're pretty much the only national delegate that has gone openly, full throttle, publicly independent. And if we stick with just and what we've learned, part of the rationale for jumping out and doing this was we looked at numbers we had in hand.
Right.
There were over 400,000 people voted for Bernie in the Texas primary. We felt like if we could get 1/4 of those people and grow it just a little bit, and that was actually the community that we're networked into, that we would be able to pull this off. What we have discovered since announcing is that we're being picked up, we're being told on a daily basis now that people are dedicating their lives to working on our campaign. A lot of these people are retired and have time on their hands. But when we vet them and we look at their social media footprint, we come back to them and we say, wow, you're really amazing. How is it that we haven't run into each other in the last 18 months? And what they tell us, Louise, is, you know, I really loved Bernie, but I think it was a mistake for him to run as a Democrat because it just took a lot of people off the table. And then they continue by saying, I wanted to give him money. I went to his donation page. I saw that it was Act Blue. I knew that money was going to be skimmed off the top for the Democrats. And I didn't want, as an independent, I didn't want them to have my money or my information. So I backed away from it. Likewise, I did not go in and participate in the primary because I don't want to go on record as being a Democrat. I think they're dirty. That's what, and so the 400,000 people that voted for Bernie in the primary in Texas ends up being the tip of a much larger iceberg that we didn't know was really out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what closed primaries do for you.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, which is your congressional district? I don't think you mentioned that. Just
my congressional district is 33.
33. Okay.
And my Senate district is,
so I just want people to know who might vote for you, to know that you're in their district. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And on Twitter, you're at Trent_champ. So,
Correct.
And your Facebook page is Champ for Texas 2018 with the 4 spelt out.
Yes.
The number 4.
Yes.
But the website is champfortexas2018.com with the number 4 instead of the 4 spelled out. So all these links will go in the article that accompanies this interview. But I don't want to go on much longer because people won't watch that longer video. But it's.
Oh, I didn't know it was going to be a video. I thought you said it was going to be a printed.
Well, it's going to be both. I'm going to post the video.
Oh my gosh, I've been rambling on horribly. I thought you were using this as a resource to write something later. I would have conducted myself completely differently.
I will.
I'm so sorry.
I should have.
Now.
I should have been clear. I'm embarrassed.
I just thought we were talking.
I'm embarrassed. I should have been clear.
No, I haven't said a single word, and I never will. That anything that I ever say to anyone privately.
Oh, you didn't say anything. No, you didn't.
No, and I never will. I mean, it's fine. I just feel like I rambled on and on and on and on and on, because I thought we were just talking.
Well, I think your story's really interesting, so I think people will listen. I'm going to kind of in the written. I'm going to kind of just give the points so that they come to the video to listen to you.
Okay.
But I think personally, if I was in your congressional district in Texas, you'd have my vote in and my support. So, and I think once Bernie Kratz become aware of you in your congressional district, I think you'll get a lot of votes.
Well, we had a lot of, we had a checklist of things we had to get in place first.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that were reserving judgment until, we want to see a public statement that you're swearing off corporate funding.
Yeah.
So we did that. We want to see your platform. So we did that. You need to have a website. So we got that in place. You need to have a funding page. So we got that in place.
Yeah.
And once all of those things were in place, it's like, and then simultaneously, Claudia Tuttle's helping us get some interviews set up. And that started to happen, and it seems like a dam has burst in the last week. And we've shattered some sort of invisible wall.
Well, I'm really glad my little project with the Progressive Army led to you.
I love your project, by the way, and I'm very interested in every installment.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I want to know.
It's our family. It's our family.
It is,
isn't it?
It is.
I mean,
I want to know.
Fraternity. I've been in a lot of fraternities. I was in a marching band. That was a fraternity.
Uh-huh.
I was in architecture school. That was a fraternity. I've been in Boy Scouts.
Uh-huh.
But my national delegate fraternity is really, they're family.
I know.
When I'm out, people recognize that yellow walkout shirt,
uh-huh.
and it means something.
It does. I love that shirt. I wear it on bad days.
If I lived in a state where my Democratic Party intervened and denied me having one, I'd be so upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. But I wear that shirt with pride whenever I'm having a bad day.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh. Well, I'm going to sign off now. You stay on the line, but I'm going to end the recording. But thank you very much, Champ.
Solidarity. We can do this. You know what? Everything that we have to do to run as independents in this country, we have already done as a movement together.
We did.
Last year was a dress rehearsal. If we had had 2 more weeks, we were at 47% when we gave up the ghost in Philadelphia. If we had had 2 more weeks, we were winning the war against hatred for hearts and minds in this country. And that work can never, ever stop. We will never, ever stop. Solidarity. We love you from Texas. Peace out.
Peace.